So we closed a little bit above the market maker's expected move for the day. Just some compression of gamma there at the end of the day, and we kind of just rode up that with a lot of call buying at the 66, 10, and 15 strike right into close. So bulls managed to catch the knife there and lever back up, but here on ES, we got a new all-time high earlier in the day. Failed to retest that all-time high here at close. Suppose I can move this up. Didn't fail the prior week's close still. But I would expect maybe a retest back at that level. Upside target's 66.37.25 right now. And the trend remains intact, although the bounce off of it this time, not all that impressive. Fairly low volume, declining day over day for the last like 3 days. So definitely getting a little bit less interest here. Dollar down pretty sharply on the day as our yields, both at the front and the back end of the curve, pretty substantial drops in the 10, the 5, and the 3-month. Whoops. Correlation was actually moving up into close, both on the 1-month and 3 months. So we are getting a breakdown in correlation, and that's coinciding with the end of the buyback period, which is kind of interesting. We start to get buyback blackouts as we move into the end of September, beginning of October. So we might see a lot more interest in short vol on the underlying and long vol on the indexes as the dispersion trade kind of rotates prior to the next earnings season. Commodities broadly up today. We see gold and silver still moving really strongly, copper up, and oil moving up about 100 points. So that's kind of interesting. A little bit of a move in energy. 3-month correlation looks like it's bottomed and is bouncing. We still don't see any kind of move in bond volatility to coincide with that, but that's where it is. It's not a lot of interest in carry trade leverage there, but the yield curve continues to move higher, and interest in long vol has picked up. Closing out the day at about negative 13.66% on the forward yield for that. Still not like positive carry, but definitely a little bit more interest with the move in bonds today. And then skew. Let's see what we got. Yeah, kind of just like looks like it's consolidating. Really no directional interest either way. Friday's breadth kind of widened on the 20-day movers, but 250 are staying pretty solid. I will say that like stocks above their 50-day moving average and 20-day have been pretty steadily declining since about August 22nd, which is kind of interesting, at least as a percentage of the whole there. And looks like we've bottomed out on the correlation breakdown, and VX and cash VIX are starting to become a bit more correlated with let's see, like a 2% move positive today. Remember, as that mean reverts, back towards zero, if correlation between them continues to rise, that's likely to see a surge in demand for long volatility, which could increase correlation between the two rapidly. Fed fund futures mostly unchanged, but a little less chance of a near-term cut. This is the Jan contract down to 0.33, so not quite two more cuts into the end of 2025. But still pricing in almost 3 rate cuts by March and almost 4 by June. the trend of re-inverting of the 10 and 2-year continues. That's a little weird. We tested my upside target at 66.14 here, which was one of two upside targets that I had that were kind of pie in the sky. I think we've exceeded that a little bit. Yeah, high was 66.19. Is that 62? Hmm. And we gapped up into that, so still looks like we've got some bullish momentum here. The breakout here would lead to maybe a retest of the trend, which I can now move down. That retest around 66.50, so still some more room to the upside, and probably no indication of a reversal unless we lose like 65.90. So stable above the 6600 level, maybe into FOMC. Over here, health tech, non-durables, and finance still struggling a bit, but a big bump in tech after the weekend. Also Tesla with big moves. So a lot of move back into Mag 7 after it kind of sold off a little bit last week, which is interesting, I guess. Not very interesting, but a little bit. Yeah, and that's about it. So bullish bias with no sign of a correction or reversal or like any kind of rejection yet. So maybe still more up. Tesla continue pushing up. I'm not sure. We could take a look at here. Kind of a weird end of day candle on it. Does have some decent gamma out to the upside. I don't know, like 420, 425. Probably a little bearish if it fails back below 400. Gamma max is already fairly deep in the money. I don't think there's any bifurcation of the chain, although I could take a look. No. Yeah, it kind of really runs out of upside hard above 420, 25. I will say that the downside gamma is getting pretty steep, so it could fail. Probably needs some more call selling out to the upside, which we may have gotten today. I would definitely keep an eye on this tonight, though. See if there's more breakdown in the money gamma here. If there's some profit taking there, that might be a good indication. There is not a shitload of delta out above 400. Not really, yeah, but still some at 420. So I think I think a 420 test is probably possible, but this is gamma max is probably going to flatten out over a couple of days. I definitely wouldn't want to play the downside in the short term, but maybe like 14 days, 21 days out might be a little bit more attractive. Yep, ES keeps selling off here. So far it hasn't hit my stops, which is nice. Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll have Pickles picks out for you tonight. And have a good one, guys. Later.